Hello everybody, my name is Puns as always, and I'm back with your daily deck tech now. Been a couple days, I had to take a couple days off. I had to do a lot of work. But I'm back here to, I unfortunately was not able to play in the ECQ this past weekend, but I'm here to take a look at the analysis and take a look at what decks did well, what archetypes did well, and what we'd expect in the future, and probably do play some games with first place, because it's a really interesting deck. So let's go into first place and see here what we got. The event was won by Gage 902, playing what basically looks like Mono Time Splash Shadow for Dark Return, Curtain Call, and Banish. Now, this is just goofy. I gotta say, this Curtain Call is a hell of a card. It is kind of really helps define the archetype of Xenon right now. Really incredibly worth splashing into. But I also like the Dark Return here because, as we see, they're playing for Talir, who sees beyond. Now, it kind of blows my mind because I mean this is an 8 cost here. I mean, we have plenty of ramping to come into this. We've got World Bear Behemoth, Ixtal, Grodov Stranger to throw things back. Only 2 Grodov Strangers there. But World Bear Behemoth is very key to getting those power cards out of your deck and hopefully getting through there. Yeah, but this is all the Curtain Call show for this deck. It's all about Curtain Call, making sure that everything stays alive, because this is a hell of a card. And what you see is running also the time etchings, which is very interesting because he running Initiated Sands to be able to exhaust to get into the market. But we're also seeing he's also running the Aurelian Merchant because he's running a time market. He's got Kairos in there just to finish things off, because if you do get Talir and Kairos out, it's pretty much game over. Now there were Luminary Reclaimer in the market too to be able to put things back in your deck. He's running Grodov Stranger and Luminary Reclaimer. I'm guessing Grodov Stranger is basically there to draw cards, or if you need to. But because there was a real fear of Reanimator kind of coming into this event, that they were going to somehow pull stuff out of it. But as we'll see later, we look at other decks that didn't exactly pan out. But this was very much, I don't know if you guys listened to the Friends of Eternal podcast, this is very much ECQ Xenon, because it had a very, very large population of the metagame. And we'll just see a lot of that takes into effect here. But yeah, this is a crazy combo if you get Talir and Kairos. But it's very odd that he opted to play for Talir here. It's still kind of crazy because, I mean, you really want to draw it. And he's playing it in the main deck, not playing it in the market. So, I guess it's to avoid certain facets. But yeah, you just slamming that Talir down in the main deck, 4 copies. And this is also opted to play one of an all-head Mountbreaker. Just noticed that, because sometimes it's a real hell of a card as well, because if you can get this to go uncontested, you get some big butts out there, especially dealing with Curtain Call as well. But yeah, this is a very interesting list. Also, but yeah, congratulations to Gage for winning first place. I'm taking the second place list because it's actually quite a bit different between first and second place. Because Ilya K decided to a more traditional, more aggressive, I should say, Xenon build. Look at those Sand Warriors, Damara, Devotee of the Sands, and it's also even-handed Golem, so you can see that in there. And Oops at the Savior, which it's kind of caught me off guard. Like, a lot of people are playing Oopsat here. To be able to silence the cards in the hand, because oftentimes this can be played on turn 4, especially when utilizing the time symbol. Time symbol allows for some crazy things for some influence, and allowing you to play things like Oopsat on turn 4 and crazy things like that. Like if it's but this is definitely more of a shadow focus, also focused on Curtain Call, but does not go above 4 cost for anything, which is, yeah, very, very aggressive. But also, you see utilizing Cyclists, which is a great card, because he gets the invulnerability just attacking, and all that. Also opting for Defile and Annihilate. Do pillars of removal in the even-handed deck. Funnily enough, I did take a look at the market here. He's playing Zumacan the Surveyor in the market with alongside Wasteland Broker, which if you do that and put Zumacan in your deck, it turns off Even-Handed Golem, which I thought was interesting because I forgot that Even-Handed Golem only applies to cards in your deck, so you can play an odd-costed card in your market if you're just at that point in the game when you need, where you rather have a warping 7/7 with the ambush that just comes in and cleans house. Also, another thing people are playing, a lot of people this week were playing Azendel Revealed. Now, one of the big heavy hitters from Into Shadow. And we've definitely seen this card take a resurgence because it's just a really good ability drawing people's cards, and especially in this format. Of course, we've seen the novel Silverblade Menace and Sabretooth Pride Leader, easy targets for Wasteland Broker in the right matchups because you have those anti-aggro. Sabretooth Pride Leader is just one of the best anti-aggro time cards they have access to. And overall, a very balanced list. Really, with the firepower of the market with the Wasteland Broker, really allowing a lot of flexibility here to be able to play those even-handed decks. Because the archetype even seen was the one I was probably going to play in the tournament. The one I felt the most comfortable with. I felt like it had a lot of great matchups and not a lot of bad matchups. But yeah, then we go into top 4 where we do see batteries coming in with Rakano. Oh my gosh, congratulations to Sir Ratteries, as it were, to his top 4 finish with this Rakano list. And we see opting for one of Crown Patroller. A lot of interesting cards here, but this is a package. I actually look at this deck list. I didn't want to go in cold looking at it, but he actually is kind of a Crown Watch Press Gang package. Because you have the Embargo Officer to really go against those Severin decks and be able to really say, no, you're not going to play those 3/1 chargers from your Void. They're not going to go back in your deck. They're going to die when they die. But yeah, looking at everything else here, we see him playing the Justice Etchings here. I'm honestly surprised that these etchings are making their impact in Throne. I would expect, if anything, they would make their most impact in Expedition, but we're seeing them. We've seen 2 so far being used to be able to access that market, and with the Justice etching there. 4 Silverbladed Tutorings. I think this card is just great. Opted for Torch, and kind of the star of the show for a lot of these decks is the Trick Shot Ruffian. Trick Shot Ruffian allowing to give you that extra little bit of boost of the attack, being able to get in there and make some big beefy dudes with all that stuff going on. And Curve topping out with Siditi, which is just a great card, especially the 5 Justice Influence used to be kind of a hindrance for this card, but man, now that you can just play it, and like you're very rarely not going to have that 5 Justice Influence on turn 5, and this card is going to get warped in more often than not. And so, running off other things through here, we do see a one of Red Canyon Smuggler, just a one of, which is very interesting, opting for that package more towards Justice Etchings. And, but yeah, this is very, very lower curve than we're used to through here. And that market does have Edith Koda's Riri, Pristine Light, Mantle of Justice, great card. And Svetya Lightbringer. Very interesting here. Also opting to play Bullet Shaper. Now, we usually see Bullet Shaper in the bigger, the fatty decks. But I guess he's just playing it here for that surge trigger, because it'll trigger your surges pretty darn well. Because the curve here is just very... Oh, also, I did not see the Windchest Merchant. No, he's not relying on just the Justice Etching. He also has a Windchest Merchant and Red Canyon Smuggler. That's my bad. I see it now. But also the Iron Throne Lawman. I just wish there was a bigger payoff here. Like, I mean, it's nice to have a Karya where I feel like we're ramping into a lot of stuff, but not finding an actual win condition seems difficult. Like I guess you have Aijin, because that 6 Justice Influence is super easy to get to. So Aijin at least makes your dudes a little bit bigger when it's in play. I haven't actually played this card, as you can see. I don't actually own 4 copies of it yet. But it seems real easy to get stuff like this in this deck. I just wish, but there's no Crown Watch Paladin. There's no that 2/2 other 2/2 with Aegis that escapes my mind that has Surge. This is very much focused on pulling these together and Aijin and Siditi and getting advantage from all those things. And I gotta hand to him, he made it to top 4, and from what I understand, he had a very competitive top 4 game as well. Man, congratulations. Also, if you're not checking out his content, he's a streamer as well on twitch.tv/battery ECG, I believe it is. I'll throw his link into his Twitch stream in the description. Now, beyond that, we've got a couple other notable things. Like, I can go through in here and see other... Oh, this is a different list. I actually didn't check this one out. I just kind of checked on it. It's an even-handed golem list, but running Desert Alchemists, Blightmoth, and Beseech the Throne. I'm kind of surprised to see this card, to be honest. I'm missing a lot of cards with this deck. We have the Twinned Spitling. Now, I heard rumblings about this card when it comes to things, but it is nice if you can generate that time influence to make 2 bodies come into play. Playing a Timekeeper with attack and health equal to your... just making a Timekeeper, essentially, which is the 4 power. And I also thought when I first saw this was... a static Timekeeper, but no, it is a fluid, so the more time influence you gain, the bigger your Timekeeper will get. And also opting for the 4 Oobsats. And opting for 3 Tuvon Skybreak Giant. Now, this is a really interesting card, because, like, I haven't, like, experimented with it. I haven't heard much rumbling about it either. But yeah, being able to pay that 4 to give them +1/+1 and draw a card seems pretty good. Also, having Ambush, fitting in the even archetype, making sure you're keeping everything down like that. And I don't know, seems pretty decent. I've just never quite gotten around to experimenting with it. Out of the market, we were seeing Sabertooth Prior Leader, Silverlight Menace, Pale Rider's Timepiece, Azazel's Revealed, and Soul's Rest. Whew. I don't know when you're bringing in Soul's Rest with Wasteland Broker, but man, putting 4 Soul's Rest in the top 20 cards of your deck seems kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, and that's kind of insane how that happens. But pretty standard market we've seen on the rise. Another Azazel through here. But yeah, opting for an earlier curve with Annihilates and Blight Moths and Sand Warriors. Very much a mid-range deck, and I'm glad I took a look at it, because there's a lot of Xening, but a lot of variation, but mostly because Curtain Call is crazy. Why does it give you Lifesteal and have Revenge? It's kind of nuts. Also, opting for a one-off of... I'm going to keep that Vara's Choice, just to keep it all together. But yeah, so that's... I'm actually curious now, because I didn't check out many of these top lists, but we've seen a lot of variation so far. Okay, this is a more... But finally, this is the first we've seen of the even-handed to play Severin, which... This card is still nuts. Why aren't more people playing it? The card is crazy. Like, this ability is so good. But... Let's see the Desert Alchemist voting the Sands. Yeah, I'm also opting for the 4 of the Vara's Choice. It's actually still very relevant to be able to discard cards from your opponent's hand, especially against, like, that time deck. Discarding those big fatties before they get a chance to play them seems pretty good. Yeah, another pretty standard. slight changes, but from Colacoma. I'm just okay. Now we finally have another one of the Okay, this one actually looks very similar. It looks like probably the same list that Batteries was playing. Yeah, we're kind of evening out here. Oh yeah, because their team members through here. All right, we have another a different version of the Arcana list, basically splashing red for Aijin, Iron Lawman, and Bullet Shaper, which is very interesting through there, but very much opting for the package, but also playing Talut the Iron Gate, which I think this card is actually pretty cool. I always try to, if I'm going to play this card, I'm going to run a relic weapon with it, because it seems like why would you not run a relic weapon if you're playing Talut? But I guess even like the silence one, the Hammer of Authority, I think is a very, very good combo with Talut, and I think they do go very well together. But opting to the Force Sadidi, and only 3 Silverblade Intrusion, but also opting for Defiance, and not the same kind of because you see Crown Watch Press Ganger, and which I guess is very handy because it fetches out Trick Shot Ruffian, which is actually pretty decent that it can get that out of your deck. But yeah, so this is seed number 20. And right out of top 8, we have Gilead's deck. We see Gilead's playing Argenport, which is a very interesting list because opting for a more Argenport mid-ranging deck, but also playing Bartolo the Seducer, which I'm all for. Also opted to play Slay, which is a very interesting choice, given that the amount of monocolor we saw. I mean, hindsight, it feels like a safer bet to play Annihilate. But I guess if you got the Slays, you could play them. But also opting for 2 copies of Backbreaker. This card is very interesting. Essentially, it gives you armor to your Justice Influence. And I've seen this thing get crazy large, especially with the amount of buffers thing. This list is also opting to finally run Chainwhip Bludgeoner and Hojan Crownbreaker and Ikaria. This is a pretty standard list, but yeah, it's very effective. Also, I love me some any deck that can get away with playing Minotaur Playmaker. I'm here for it. I think that's your main replacement because you don't have Aijin for those shenanigans. But having Minotaur Playmaker, just dishing out weapons left and right, I like it a lot. So that's pretty decent on there. I think this list is pretty solid here. And what was Kamada? Kamada, I was like, look what Kamada was playing because he's a genius. All right, Kamada, I know you're on. All right, he's playing more the conservative, but deck, but opting for a Nash Desert Prince in the main. But 2 Vaughn on the market, Slime Spitter Slug. What an interesting choice. I guess it gets you life. I'm just trying to see, but also does not opt for the Silverblade Menace. I don't see it through here. What a meta call to not play the Silverblade Menace in the market. But we are finally seeing them run the Forge Curtain Call because this card is crazy. I think it's 100% the reason to run Xenon. But yeah, no Silverblade Menace in here. Which seems like, I don't know, Kamado. I feel like you would rather have that over Slime Spitter Slug. But maybe, I don't know. I cannot judge. I did not play in the event. But I did test for it quite a bit. We keep scrolling down through here. More Xenon, more Rakano. But we get into Barfling, number 17 place, who decided to bring a Horu, kind of a Horu mid-range. because he has so many. You get Trick Shot Ruffian, who's pretty darn good. I very much undervalue this card. But you also get Defiance and Bring Justice. I think Bring Justice is really sweet. And opts not to run the Bubble Shield. How could you not run the Bubble Shield? I must be crazy not think the Bubble Shield is not an amazing card. Especially you get such a payoff with it being Horu, but does run a Nia Master Sleuth to give you that Aegis, and you can't lose it, so they can't face burn you while Nia's out. I think this card is actually very good. I've certainly played around with it quite a bit. It's the first instance you see to the Maveloth Huntress, the one with Killer Imbue and Plunder, which are just such good words to put on a card through there, and I like it quite a bit. Also, we see the top end of this deck coming out with Talut, Sadidi, Svetya, Adjudicator Gavel, Pristine Light, Citywide Ban, Cornet Palace, and Stormhalt Knife from that Rhyme Colony Smuggler, which is a pretty solid market. I like the Gavel, because it's pretty relevant against those Severin decks that are just trying to spam dudes. But yeah, overall, I mean, this deck's pretty solid. Buffing everything in your deck, Svetya. Yeah, pretty solid. But other things we see here. Oh, we do see following through here. We see Iplongo's Feln. What has he got going on here? Okay. The at any cost burn. I've seen a couple of these lists floating around, which is pretty neat because I thought this card was very, 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 very difficult to get to 12 Shadow Influence. Turns out it's actually not, especially when you can utilize Produce Sorcery and gain that one-off Savage Incursion. I almost kind of like that in the market if I'm making this list. What is our market card here? Transpose. Oh, okay. Opting for a transpose market, that makes more sense why they would put Savage Incursion in the main. I guess it's very nice being able to pull with everything like that. And out of the market, we see Honor of Claws, Inkwell Blood, Malediction, Rejection, and Vara Vengeance Seeker, which is very interesting. Now, this is very much a control. Then you have your finishers with, but I'm honestly surprised to see the Rindra Infiltrator showing up in the deck, because I honestly I think the other Rindra is better, to be honest, but I guess this does give you lifesteal. You don't have to worry about Nightfall to get that, but and I guess you are playing spells every turn. I don't believe it dies to Hailstorm. So I guess that's better. I just, in most scenarios, I've liked the other Rindra better, but I would not run out and craft it. And of course, finishing off with the Ikaria First Reaper, because if you're going to be playing that much Shadow Influence, you might as well play Ikaria the First Reaper. I'm surprised it does not play the -X, where X is your Shadow Influence. The name of the card escapes my mind right now, but we are seeing it playing pretty much everything else. Doing that card costs 3, and but I see it's very much focused on things like that. But yeah, it's nice to see that made it to make top 64. And where it fell through there. Ooh, looks like we have a Mono Justice Splash Primal for. Okay, so we have a very, very green deck. They're playing the Bubble Shield because they should be playing Bubble Shield. This card is so good. Bring Justice Etchings. Looks like that might be their only. I guess they Rhyme Conclave Smuggler as well to give you that face Aegis. 2 of the Silver Blade Intrusion and 3 Permafrost. Very interesting through there. that removal package they put through there. Opted not for Defiance or any of the other early cost spells, but for Bring to Justice, which is definitely not a turn 1 card, but the Justice Etchings and the Rhyme Conclave Smuggler to really have full access to that market. We'll see the top end coming here. We do see a Melee Cloud Marshal, which is, quite fuego. I like this card quite a bit. Makes sense it's just a 2 of, because, I mean, it comes in, it's got a big butt, especially if you can protect it with Bubble Shield. I think it's really nice like that, too. Yeah, very, very much in a mid-range horror deck. Just minor splashes of Primal for the good stuff. And, because I guess if you got it, you play it, so. But yeah, I like this list quite a bit. See what else we can glean from top 64. Good old WSU Ron. And almost playing a Fire Time Shadow deck. Let's see what's going on here. I didn't actually look at this list as well. Last Chance. Oh, this must be combo. My first impression is that it's combo. So I see a Talir in the market, Kairos in the market. The Dark Return, Desert Alchemist, Devour. It's interesting that they're playing they're playing cards that can turn off your win condition here, because I guess it's not as big of a deal with Kairos, because Kairos draws you a bunch of cards. I mean, it draws you generally 6 cards, and if it's very difficult to whiff at that point if you have 6 cards through there. But man, End of the Barrel and Twin Brood Sauropod. Man, I guess you're really trying to ramp hard to get to that End of the Barrel. But yeah, it's Talir combo with Kairos as the win condition instead of Voda combo. Both have their strengths and weaknesses, but I think it's probably better than Voda combo, but it's nice to see that combo manage to sneak in there at the top 64 as well. But it was the thing about combo decks is they're not always the most consistent, and they lose. They can sometimes just kind of squeak out like that and lose. But it's certainly nice to see, and we see Platypus playing a more mono time deck as well. I saw that the time was grayed out on it, but it looks pretty this opted for 4 of Tuvon Skybreak Giant. Certainly interesting like that. Virgin Mary snuck in there with an Elysian deck. You see, it's an even Elysian, of course, with the Yeti Polt, Gorodov Stranger, and Tamaris. This is very reminiscent of a deck we saw a couple formats ago with a Touch of Battle, when this deck was ruled the landscape. The biggest additions to this deck being Ubsat and Wasteland Broker. Wasteland Broker giving this deck some fire. Like that, I was really excited to see that Wasteland Broker giving these decks some fire, but playing the Equivocate in the market? What? I guess there's some matchups you don't need it, but of course, Honor Clause, if you just need to draw some cards, and Nash Desert Prince. Yeah, very interesting here. The Gorodov Stranger, Tamaris. It's very, very much focused on. Interesting, we don't see the like we do in these past decks. We definitely saw the Xenon Obelisk to buff everybody up, especially with the Sand Warriors and the Devotees, and the Even-Handed Golem, and the 4 main deck Royal Decrees, which I guess is one of the reasons why you're running Elysian if you're going to play that. And a sneaky main deck Linrise Codex, because you don't want it in your market there. But yeah, this is very sneaky. I think it's a pretty decent deck, too. And congratulations to Virgin Mary for piloting it to all the way to the top 64. Let's see, is there any other interesting decks we can glean? We have another Tony G sneaking another Horror deck. Let's see if it was it's got some changes, some differences between the other ones. opting for the Mayflower Huntress, but the Saudi Wingbreaker. Now, this card we've not seen in quite a while. Very powerful when it came out, and the 4 of the Koryat Palace as well. Was Fetya Lightbringer. This is very, very interesting through here. The Nia Master Sleuth. Yeah, it's very much more of a top-end Horu deck. Wanting to get out the Sadidis and Svetyas, and very much just big, fatty units. And you have, of course, the Crownwatch Pressganger package, which is certainly something that's really neat. And yeah. And let's see if I could find any more interest. Ooh, we have one Stone Scar. Oh man, Stone Scar. The hype was there, and oh man. But it looks very similar to the Stone Scar list I had pulled together. Opting forward to play the Senway Smuggler Market. In fact, I think this was a list I think I held together previously. So it's nice that one got there, but whew, not a good day for Stone Scar. Another Justice decks from Strathorn. Yep, this is the deck we saw before. But opting to play Barrel Through. Interesting. I guess it triggers and gives you influence. So that's nice. To trigger those things through there. I guess I never thought about that before. But that Barrel Through is, I guess, slightly better than Finest Hour, because it can trigger that surge when you need it on certain things like that. Yeah. Oh, we have a mono fire deck from Pikachu sneaking his way in there, but opting to play the Fury Blade, of course. I guess you really want the Fury Blade to combo with Kazuo. I've just never really liked this card. It just always felt bad. But this is mono fire Onis. We do see a Jishu the Burning Bush, and Oni Patrol and Oni Ronin. It's very interesting through there. And of course, 3 Gale's Persuader and Thunder of Wings. Because you have Jek and Milos, the Bash brothers. Yeah, I guess this is basically an Oni deck. Wow, playing a Fire Sigil in the market. I knew that's possible, but I've never seen anyone actually do it before. In any list. But it's one thing I always forget that it is possible. But you have, of course, the Flash Fire in there. If you need to end some games, the Obliterate, give the Overwhelm. It's a very aggressive deck, and congratulations on making it a top 64 with mono fire. I can imagine it was not an easy road. Okay, now we're starting to see some of the Stone Scar down here. Rishi. Ooh, this is definitely an interesting deck as well. It is a Horu Control. How about that? Opting for having the Throne Word, Savage Incursion, Rain of Frogs, Reread, and Transpose. It's so weird that you're running a Wasteland Broker and having Transpose. I've seen other people do this before. It's so weird to see it. It seems so anti-synergy here, because the only thing you're getting with that Transpose is Rain of Frogs, but I guess it's also protecting you from the Silverblade Menaces, and I get it. It makes sense. But it's still so weird to see you have your Wasteland Broker fetch for a Transpose, because you know there's Silverblade Menaces coming, and it's coming with a vengeance. Of course, your normal package here. We have a 4 main deck Royal Decree. That is very interesting, because this is not an aggressive deck by any stretch of the imagination. Also opting around 4 of Helio the Skywinder. Card seems very good, very powerful. Being able to try a bunch of cards when you need it. And it draws a bunch of cards. And running Jotun Hurler with no Swap Market also seems very weird, but I guess it does. It's good fodder for Honor of Claws. It's good fodder for. I guess you could throw it back with transpose. I guess. If you need to get to that point in the game. I know it's very interesting what we got going on here. Also, Throne Warden, very very interesting too. Interesting choice because I mean it's a big butt, gives you armor and Aegis, so I could definitely see its usefulness, but certainly some weird one to see. Also, does not run balance. Equalize. One day I will get it. Because one person pointed out to me that card has the same effect as balance. Did not run equalize. I will say it correctly one day. Op's not running those things through here, so that's, I mean, it's basically where we're at here. But yeah, so let's see if there's any other. Oh my gosh, Tempest Dragon King brought Skycrag. Skycrag aggro looks like here too with Grenadins. Neat. This is definitely a throne room deck, I can tell, because you have your trippers here, you have your Grenadin drones, your tripwire Grenadins to deal one, then deal the one on death, volatile Grenadin. I guess Volatile Grenadin also can trigger Throne Room if they do pick that option instead of making him buff. If they don't want the 2-mana 5/5, they can take 4. It's a very neat idea, and it's definitely certainly interesting. 3 Wasteland Broker, 3 Fire Etchings. That's a very weird ratio to me, to be able to access the market, be able to get certain of those things. But yeah, we've got that Godan. Ooh. And he's even got a Galai in there. Very interesting here. So, a lonely... I don't know if it's lonely, but we've so far... by Tempest Dragon King. Just bashing its way in there. Being able to get there with that... aggro. Because, of course, it has the Bash Brothers, Jek and Milos. Because you can't run one without the other. It's just really, at this point, you can't. But... it's a very interesting list. Also, it's very nice because Skycrag has access to the Silex. And certainly a reason to run it. To run Skycrag. And it's very interesting. You just run into problems with Throne Room sometimes. You don't get your proccers. You don't get your where exactly you need to be. But definitely an interesting deck here. Alright. We have another Fire Time Shadow deck from Finkel. Ooh, even Vox. So glad even Vox got there. Deck's really cool. I really like this deck. I'm glad somebody played it over the even Xenon, or the Xenon in general. But yeah, this is a very fun deck. I did a deck tech on this deck. Yeah, it's just really cool, and I think gives you a lot of options. But it may not have been the best meta game call, to be honest. But other than that, it seems... and also playing Curtain Call in the market with the Wasteland Broker is super nice. Not gonna lie. Super nice. Alright. Another Rakana. We have a Mono Justice list that snuck its way in there. With Prism Golem is the first thing that smacks me in the face through here. And everything we're seeing here, we have... running the Copper Hall Bracers. Certainly something, a nice... I'm surprised this card is not seeing more play, because that's... especially because you get access to Copper Hall Blessing as well for 4, which seems really nice. Because you also play, you don't draw. So, also, Vanquisher's Blade. 3 of them. Pretty intense. We do see the Winchester Merchant giving us a Justice Market. And running 4 Purge Driver. That's really interesting. I mean, 3 Purge Driver. Like, I've never seen this card see play in any deck. But apparently did something right with it. But opting for 4 melee for Sadidi. This kind of looks like a Valkyrie Tribal, honestly. I mean, you have Unseen Commando in there. We have Ikaria. I love the Prism Golems here because this is 3 mana 5/5. And opting for the Seal of Devotion, which is very interesting because you want to be able to make sure you're playing that Sadidi on 5. But they are playing the Justice symbol here, so that gives a little bit of edge going on through there. But they have no early drops. The only early drop they have is Ikaria, and they aren't even playing Bubble Shield, which is... I feel like if you're going to be playing these things, you want to be playing Bubble Shield. And I feel like you want to protect your dudes. And Bubble Shield is mono faction, and it just gets there. But I'm very excited somebody's experimenting with this Prism Golem, because this is... I mean, you're in mono color, you might as well try playing it down. And that we see an Equalize. The market is the first Equalize we've seen. Svetya to give everything in the deck Aegis. And I feel like it could need just a little bit to be almost there. I feel like it needed Bubble Shield, but that's just me. I just love that card. I love Bubble Shield. But yeah, so we have that. And we have another Horu. I wonder if it's Horu Patrol. No, this is just Horu midrange. I've seen that before. And looks like we have Mono J playing, a very interesting list here. Playing a Justice Primal Fire deck. Very light fire. You light fire splashing Ikaria? Wow, that is ballsy. Not gonna lie. I've done that before myself. But wow, that is ballsy. Not gonna lie. Opting for Force Fate, the Lightbringer is neat. I guess if you're running Petition, but maybe the influence right now is so good you can splash triple fire on one card. Kind of blows my mind, honestly. But I guess you have both Silexes giving you fire here, but. And you get a fair amount of crests as well, but I mean, just, yeah, you get the petitions to be able to pull the particular power you need, but also running, 4 Bring Justice and 4 Defiance, because you're running a transpose market. Hold on. Okay, running Transpose and Rhyme Conclave. I'm looking at the market here, and it didn't make any sense. But they got that... Okay, World Pyre makes sense, too. World Pyre is another easy way to get Ikaria into play. Just now seeing that here. Also, another cool thing to play, but... I honestly don't know how often you're getting that. But you do auto-fetch it with Transpose, which is nice. You're going to do that, or Honor of Claws, which both seem pretty good options here. With Rhyme Conclave giving you Mullet and Kova. Display of Honor, Royal Decree. Sometimes it's nice to be able just to get Royal Decree with Rhyme Conclave Smuggler, because you just want to go delete something that's a copy of something in their deck. But very interesting deck, especially with that Ikaria. Like, I like Svetya and Ikaria together because, like, she has super Warcry on her ability, and it's just really good sometimes, especially in combination. You get these gigantic Ikarias coming off the top of the deck, and it's just really neat. But yeah, so it's very much a mid-range deck. I mean, you're running these things like you have the Genev. Oh, running the Genev Merchant, Rhyme Conclave, and Transpose. You are gonna see that market, guys. That market is. You're going to get there with this deck in this market. Yeah, very interesting deck. Close. And WSG Auto. What are we running here? Merchant spam? Oh, is this that Kendo combo deck? I think it is. I've heard about this deck. Where you combo Curtain Call, Tome of Horrors, and Curtain Call, Tome of Horrors, and Kendo Shadow Step to be able to win the game instantly, essentially. It's neat. I'm surprised they went with it, because also you need every card in this market. I guess that's why you're running 12 merchants. I know you're running more. You need every card in this market to make this work, and it's. I guess you have multiple outs, because I guess Belligerent Yeti was a combo with Curtain Call and Stained Honor, and Tome of Horrors. This is double combo. Like, you have backup combo in case one combo doesn't work. That's very interesting. Like, I'm gonna have to try out this deck. Like, I definitely want to try it out, because it's certainly unique. And I'm putting this one on the back burner. So, but I have rambled on long enough here tonight, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching the video, and I will be back tomorrow with another daily tech deck. Probably gonna play some of these decks, and yeah, I make sure you're following me on Twitter. Make sure you're at What West Watches. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I haven't decided. Like, I've been talking to people about trying out Patreon, because, like, after this past weekend's work schedule, I want to continue making content, and I mean, I know people will support me, like, when I come back to Twitch, which will happen. I think T-minus 7 days, a week from today, I'll be back on Twitch. But till then, I'm looking at some kind of Patreon. Keep making this content for YouTube, and people seem to like it, and so hopefully it'll keep coming there. But that's enough rambling for me today, guys. I will see you tomorrow with another Daily Tech.